is disconnected.
What the heck? Uh-oh. Hold on, let me...
Wait, you're good, you're good.
Yes? Yes? You're good. Okay. Are we on? Mm-hmm. Okay. You know, have you ever noticed when you go out into your garden, all the activity that's going on out there? It's my favorite thing to do when I walk outside. I've got a cup of coffee, and I like to just sit and watch everything that's going on in my garden. Hi, I'm Suzanne. I am a horticulturist here at Rogers Gardens. I'd like to welcome you to our Tuesday Live, and today we're going to be talking about gardening with a purpose. And the purpose is creating a habitat garden. Habitat gardens can be a lot of different things, but mainly it's to plant things in your garden that are going to bring wildlife, pollinators, things like that, to bring them to your garden in a way that will either give them food, or you can provide water, you can provide shelter, a nesting area, just even protection from other animals. So there's a lot of different ways to think about a habitat garden. And so basically each time you're buying a plant, you want to just think, what will this plant do for my garden? And it's as easy as putting out some little pie pans with stones in it so that pollinators like bees and butterflies can get water. You can have a real bird bath that's not too deep. So if the flatter it is with, a nice amount of water, the birds are going to love it. So those are super easy things. You can have bird feeders and hummingbird feeders, but one of the nicest ways to add a lot of color and a lot of texture to your garden is to plant things that are going to attract all of these animals and insects. And so this morning when I grabbed this beautiful, beautiful scabiosa, who's holding on to my buckwheat over here, there was a giant monarch on it. And the thing about planting flowers like this to attract all of these pollinators, one of the really good reasons to plant something like scabiosa or this Achillea yarrow that I'm going to talk about in a minute is because there are so many flowers up here, these nice big flat flowers that the pollinators like to land on. So a butterfly can get quite a lot of nutrition and food from these flowers by just hopping on each one of these, and there's probably like 20 little flowers inside each one, and they can get so much from it, and it's really fun to watch them while they're doing it. So the yarrow or the Achillea, also that little landing pad of a flower that butterflies love so much. It comes in a lot of different colors, and one of the things that I like about this particular plant is that when the flowers die back at the end of summer, you can cut them back, but the greenery down here will remain. And so it becomes this beautiful mossy kind of turf on the ground. And it is a really good grass alternative or a grass substitute for those areas that you might want a little bit of lushness in the winter, but you don't want to have grass there. So super drought tolerant and beautiful, beautiful color throughout the warmer months. Other plants that you can put in the garden are shrubs. It doesn't necessarily have to be a flower. It can be a tree that a bird can nest in. So you can plant native things, which are always so much easier to take care of. If you're looking for plants that are basically low to no maintenance, natives are pretty much what you would like. The only thing you might want to do is cut off some deadheads or something, but we have here, so I'm going to do my reach. And this is manzanita or Arctostaphylos. This will grow into a 5 to 8 foot shrub, and it has the beautiful, beautiful manzanita, the reddish wood, and it provides a lot of shelter for animals. They love to nest in here. They like to hide in here. Say, if you have like a beautiful Cooper's hawk, which is, part of the whole circle of life of course, they're going to need to eat something, but a lot of birds might want to hide, and so they can hide underneath this gorgeous manzanita. In the spring, it gets really beautiful little white flowers that the pollinators really enjoy. So planting a lot of things, trees in the background, shrubs in the middle, and then your beautiful flowers in the front is going to provide you with a lot of things to look at and to watch and to see in your garden, which to me, it's just like, it's the funnest thing to do that and just look. Even here at Rogers Gardens, we have this beautiful garden in back of us, and I don't think you can see it, but on that milkweed over there, it's so great. There's a monarch laying eggs. So that to me is, I know, it's geeky. It's garden geeky, but you know what? It's so much fun just to watch things. Another native that is so versatile because you can plant the ceanothus. So this is ceanothus, or California lilac, we call them. Ceanothus comes in ground covers, and so super low to the ground. They get beautiful, beautiful from light blue to dark blue flowers in the spring. This is another ceanothus. This is one of the ground cover ones. This one is called Diamond Heights. It's a beautiful variegated version of this, but you can also get this in just solid dark green. These plants are evergreens, so never going to lose their leaves, and they have beautiful shiny dark leaves year round, which is kind of a neat thing. A lot of people think water-wise or natives, maybe they don't look quite as nice, but ceanothus is such a beautiful plant, and it goes from ground cover plants all the way to shrubs and to trees. There's one called Ray Hartman that grows exceptionally quick, and you can have a beautiful big ceanothus tree in your garden in just a couple of years. So more ways to add these animals to your garden. And it's so funny because people will come here and they'll say, oh, but I have squirrels and I have rabbits, and I think it's really difficult to keep things that you don't maybe necessarily want. Redirect squirrels maybe with giving them a different kind of food than maybe your vegetable garden, if that's what they're doing. I always say put a little pie plate of a few peanuts, not in the shells because they will bury them, but just a few peanuts, and sometimes that's enough to keep them away from your vegetables. Rabbits, there's not a lot you can do about rabbits. If you live in a beautiful, beautiful area that has rabbits, you are super, super lucky. But you can also think that maybe when the rabbits eat some of your plants, they also do deposit a lot of fertilizer. So it's a good, healthy green fertilizer for your garden. So they might take, but they also give back a little bit. Speaking of these beautiful monarchs and the milkweed, we do have a lot of native milkweeds here at Rogers Gardens, and these are pretty much one of the easiest plants to grow in your garden because you plant it and you just ignore it. Most of the native plants are used to that. They come from our weather cycles, and although it is a little bit drier right now, so you might need to supplement a little bit of watering while they're getting established, we have this beautiful narrow-leaf milkweed, which is going to attract a ton of monarchs to your garden. They will lay their eggs on this plant, and the caterpillars will eat it down to the nubs. Then it's going to keep growing again. Thank you. Thank you. We have like a guest appearance from a monarch saying, oh look, I'm holding up milkweed now. So this is another kind of milkweed we have. We did have 3 kinds. Right now we're just down to 2 kinds, but this is a California native. It's just called Asclepias californica. The other one is Asclepias fascicularis. So 2 kinds of native milkweeds. This one has a beautiful, beautiful big thick leaf once it really gets going, and it has beautiful pink showy flowers, just gorgeous. We also have this California native. This is penstemon, and it's called this variety. I don't know why they named it this, but it's called Margarita Bop. But it is just a beautiful, beautiful native. It's going to come out, grow, flower all summer long, then it'll die back, then it'll keep coming back. So just beautiful for hummingbirds, for butterflies. These little tubular shaped flowers are going to attract a lot of really active little habitants for your garden. And There are all sorts of little native flowers that you can throw in. So starting in November, if you want to throw poppy seeds on the ground, just get a little packet of poppy seeds, throw them down, and by spring, your garden will be filled with poppies. And it's really neat because the poppies will fill in and kind of hide everything else in the garden for a little while, and then they'll just die back. And if you leave them long enough, they will reseed themselves, and you will constantly have poppies every single year, which is really, really a fun thing because then the rest of the garden will come in later and show you a little bit more color. But poppies are super easy and really well loved by pollinators. Two other native plants. These are both California buckwheat. Two different varieties of Eriogonum. This one is kind of a big beastie plant, so if you want to fill in some areas on a hillside, this Eriogonum, and it's, this is not Eriogonum. I grabbed the wrong plant. Anyway, there is a big beastie plant like this, and it gets about 6 to 8 feet wide, and it has beautiful white flowers in the spring, and it will attract a ton of butterflies. This one is the red buckwheat, and as you can see from the flowers here, the butterflies and the bees just love this. So, very nice. There's some other plants, things like ribes, which is a little bit too big for me to grab up here, but this is a native, like a currant. And so it's going to be deciduous in the winter, but the little berries that it shows, that pop out on it, are absolutely beloved by birds. So it's kind of fun. You can also make a little jam with them if you like, if you want to steal them, just a few from the birds. But that ribes is a beautiful, beautiful plant. Just the leaves are really pretty. It has a few thorns in it, so if you need a little security around certain areas, plant the ribes. We have also this gorgeous Agastache, which is kind of my plant of the year in my garden. I've planted Agastache. Here's another one, and some people call it Agastache, but these are in the mint family, so they smell amazing when you touch them. They smell like just heaven, and the flowers are super well beloved by all of the pollinators, the hummingbirds, the bees, birds, everything. Just wonderful. And then I'm gonna get back to two more natives, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about planting. So one of our specials last month, you may have heard Sarah talking about our native sages. All of the native sages are so easy to grow. You can put them in the garden and then just whack them back after they're through blooming, and they're gonna come back out and bloom again. They have these beautiful, beautiful blue flowers. This one is Salvia. It's Clevelandii, so the Clevelandii versions are the natives here in Southern California and Northern California. This one is called Winifred Gilman because it has these beautiful red stems. It is so aromatic. I don't know if you can smell it over there, Marissa, but beautiful. And then, of course, white sage. White sage is a great, big, gigantic plant. It looks so cute and innocent here, right? But it gets about 6 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. And then you can eventually cut it back at the end of the season. It will flower with these really cool black and white flowers, and all the pollinators love it. But it's a great way to just fill in some big spaces in your garden. So when you're planting your native garden, one of the things you might consider is, if you have an irrigation system set up, set aside an area for lower water. It's going to be a lot easier. Some of the plants can take regular watering that you might be doing with your sprinkler, but for the most part, with your native plants, they're going to need a lot less. Just much, much less. A little supplemental watering in the summer, perhaps, just to keep them looking nice and blooming. But otherwise, you might want to amend your soil with a little cactus mix to make sure that it's draining well. You want to plant them, get them established before it gets too hot. Right now, we're just getting into maybe a little bit warmer now, but anything over 80 or 90, you might want to put off planting a lot of these little natives until a little bit later, but most of them can take it through the summer unless it's exceptionally warm. But put that the cactus mix in the soil, make sure that it's draining well, and that's pretty much it. The only thing you're going to do is deadhead them. Don't really need a lot of fertilizer. These plants are used to being kind of neglected and growing on their own. So if you want, you can do a little bit, but just an all-purpose and definitely organic so that it's not burning or overfeeding them. So there are also some really nice things. A lot of people are talking about having grass alternatives. And so with your habitat gardens, the reason this gardening with a purpose, the reason you would plant native grasses is to bring a lot more birds in. They love to hide in the grasses, but they also like to eat the seeds. So you'll let them grow, they'll get big and beautiful, they'll throw out their beautiful seed heads, and then you can leave them through the winter if you want. They're very, very beautiful. They can look really sculptural and very modern, a little contemporary. And then in February, you can just chop them back and the plant is going to come back again. That way you have brought the birds to the garden, you've given them some food. It's been really beautiful for you all winter long, and that's about it. Let's see, what else do we have? Bigger plants. I have my notes down here, as you can see. We have some bigger plants. You can plant the elderberries. You can do larger trees like toyon, and you can do the oaks, of course. Oaks are going to be great for bringing a lot of birds and wildlife into your garden. When you're considering how you want to do this, definitely add the trees first. Then you can add your mid-sized plants like the shrubs and everything, and then add your flowers later. And keep in mind that some plants will bloom only in the spring to attract very specific things. Some plants will bloom a little bit later to bring other specific pollinators or birds or something. And then of course later on in the fall is when we have more of our like the Agastaches and things like that, and that will bring, provide food and sustenance for other things later on in the year. So there's always got to be some color, some food, and yeah, that's pretty much it. For just think about when you're buying something, you're like, okay, if I put this in my garden, hummingbirds, butterflies, this is perfect. This is going to bring butterflies and bees. This is going to provide, shelter for a bird. That's all it is for gardening with a purpose, is making sure that each thing has its purpose in your garden. So with that, I'm going to ask Marissa, are there any questions?
Mm-hmm.
There are. I'm happy.
Are all the plants for full sun only?
Oh, thank you for asking. That is a great question. Most of these here are, and I did bring a couple of shade plants, and I also want to recommend some that I don't have here. This is an Butylon, and Butylons come in lots of different colors. So this one has these beautiful mottled leaves, which I really like, and these beautiful little orange flowers. And I've talked a lot about how much I love a Butylon, especially for shade or morning sun. They are so easy to grow, and this is kind of a larger one. It can get 10 feet maybe plus. There's some other ones like the tiger eye Butylon that can get 15 to almost 20 feet tall. And then we have these really cute little ones like this. So if you don't have a lot of space for a tree or something, you can do this little one. This one's called Lucky Lanterns Yellow, and this is a really cute tiny Butylon. This is great for hummingbirds. Love this. It's funny because they don't have that tubular flower that you always associate with hummingbirds, but they do love the nectar in these. Bees love these, and at my house the finches love this tree. They love to just hop through it and eat any bugs that might be sitting on the tree. There's some other plants. Rucellia is a great plant. Rucellia is a big hanging long plant. It's really pretty to put in a taller pot. It hangs down and it has these little red flowers that hummingbirds will fight over. So there are a ton of different things, but again, in shade, if you're you want to get tubular flowers like the Figelis and things like that, but you can also provide a lot of habitat plants there. So things like shrubbery and things, so that animals can hide or can have protection or build a nest or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways to bring everybody into the garden. Right now I've got like 5 bees deciding that they just discovered this. So any other questions?
Yes. What is the variegated ground cover and the evergreen you mentioned before discussing the milkweed?
Oh, so I have I'm guessing it was this one. This ground cover is Ceanothus. This one is Ceanothus. And this is Diamond Heights. And the all green version is called Yankee Point. Both excellent ground covers. There's also some really beautiful native manzanita ground covers called Emerald Carpet. Again, if you have a hillside, and this comes up a lot, you know, what can I plant on my hillside that's going to look beautiful and be easy to take care of, that I don't have to climb up there? These native ground covers are perfect because they are going to have a deep, deep root, unlike, you know, sometimes people think ice plant is the only thing you can put up there, but ice plant is very shallow rooted. If you plant some shrubs like Ceanothus or manzanita, it's really going to hold that hillside, hold the soil, and provide a lot of great things for your habitat garden. What was the other one? This one? Oh, and the other Ceanothus, what did I do with it? Here it is. So this is another Ceanothus. It's a big one. This is the Ray Hartman. So this is the tree, one of the most robust and tree-like varieties. It'll grow 12 to 20 feet tall very, very quickly. It's a great, great plant, and you can trim it up and make it look just gorgeous with its stunning, stunning, beautiful lilac blue flowers in the spring. It is just like one of the most beautiful things to see in springtime. So I really recommend some Ceanothus, especially the larger varieties, so that you can have this big blue plant in your garden that will make you super happy. Any other questions?
UHF is disconnected.
We're losing our sound. We're not losing our sound. Okay.
Suggestions for a small tree for a patio space, probably to live in a pot.
Okay, so plants in pots are almost always fine. Very few plants I wouldn't recommend putting in a pot, but you can put Ceanothus in a pot. You can do, if you have full sun, if you're doing shade, these Butylons are perfect. You can make them look like, you know, small trees. You can prune them up and keep them nice and small. You can do Laurel petalum, which is the razzleberry flower, which a lot of the hummingbirds like. So there are a ton of really beautiful plants that you can put on your patio. A pot is not a limitation. It's just an easier way to keep an eye on the watering and everything. And it looks really pretty to have a lot of pots and lots of plants. Okay, so that's going to be it for me today. This Thursday, I believe we have Sarah with our plant of the week. And then don't forget, on Saturday, David is going to be talking about what to do in your garden this month. So that's always really, really fun. Don't forget to join us at rogersgardens.com for all your online shopping needs. You can also watch our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, because we have a lot of really good videos coming up. We have our Pinterest, we have Instagram, we have Facebook. You can sign up to be one of our preferred guests, which means you'll learn all about our events that are coming up. And I know it's not even July yet, right? But you know what we're thinking about here at Rogers Gardens? Halloween. We've already got Halloween in full swing behind the scenes here, so be sure and sign up so that you know when our Halloween event starts, our Christmas events, everything. We're just rolling into the very end of the year. I can't even believe we're not even halfway through the year, and yet we're doing this. So anyway, that's it for me today. If you have any questions, just put them below and we will answer them later. And if you have any ideas for any other videos, just send them along, okay? That's it for me today.